Blizzard is hinting at a Mercy and Genji romance. At least that's what some Redditors on the internet believe after some leaked information from the Valentine's Day event has gone live. Hey everyone, this is Dabacabb here, and I'm going to dive into this newly leaked information and discuss, could this actually be the first real Overwatch romance developing before our eyes, or is this just people on the internet reading too much into every little detail? You tell me. Anyway, so before we get too far into it, let me go ahead and play these voice lines for you so you can get your own opinion on it.
I got you some chocolates, Genji. Swiss. They're the best.
Thank you, Angela. Perhaps you could share them with me? Angela, I have some chocolates for you. Not Swiss.
I suppose it will have to do. Thank you, Genji.
Now, obviously, these voice lines could be interpreted a couple of different ways. Let me go ahead and play the devil's advocate first. Be really skeptical. So Mercy and Genji have known each other for a very long time. They worked together in the original Overwatch before it got disbanded. And then Hanzo basically ruined Genji's body during their fight, and Mercy repaired it and turned him into this cyborg ninja that they know today. So Genji and Mercy are basically longtime buds. They've known each other for a very long time. They are professional colleagues. They're on friendly terms. I mean, Genji's life was saved by Mercy, so it would make sense that Genji would have very strong, positive, at the very least, friendly feelings towards Mercy. So it would absolutely make sense for Genji to get Mercy chocolates. I mean, you know, if someone saved my life, I think I'd be inclined to buy them chocolates or some sort of token of my appreciation. Also, it totally fits Genji's character. He's very polite. He's considerate now that he has gone under Zenyatta's tutelage. He's just a very pleasant person, very considerate, and he's thoughtful of others. So it would make sense for him to get Mercy chocolates. Absolutely 100%. Now, then we got Mercy. Mercy is sort of like the team mom. She's very maternal. She's very caring. She has devoted her life to healing the sick and curing ailments and fighting diseases and helping others. So once again, it would totally make sense for Mercy to get chocolates for her, her old buddy. And it's totally possible that could not have any romantic feelings. It's just that she is the type of person who likes to give other people gifts. And since, she saved Genji's life, they've been longtime buds, it makes sense that she would, give this to Genji as a token of their friendship. However, all right, now let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's argue the other point and consider the possibilities. Is there a romantic attraction between Mercy and Genji? Maybe. It's actually more viable than you might think. I don't know how closely you're paying attention to the recent comic that they released, but as you may have noticed, Genji was writing a letter in one panel, and in another panel, Mercy was reading a letter, which might mean that Genji and Mercy regularly correspond, at least during the holidays, or perhaps just in life. Perhaps their relationship goes much deeper than mere friendship and colleagues. Also, I mean, we don't have all the voice lines available to us, so we can't really be sure. But, did Genji get chocolates for anyone else? Did Genji get chocolates for Anna or for Hanzo? Probably not Hanzo. Did Mercy get chocolates for anyone else? I mean, Mercy has a long-time relationship with Reinhardt and Torbjorn and Soldier 76, so did she get them Swiss chocolates too? Kind of hard to say. We won't know until the event goes live and we hear all the voice lines available. But, it could be that these two specifically got chocolates for each other. And, who knows? Who knows, man? So normally I would never make a video about something as silly as subtle flirtation between two characters. But I've been thinking about this all day. And I couldn't figure out why I was thinking about it so much, why I couldn't get it in my mind. And I finally figured it out. I think that this has sort of made me realize the potential that Blizzard has for the story of Overwatch. And let me explain what I mean. So coming into Overwatch, I sort of assumed that Overwatch would have what I kind of referred to as the Saturday morning cartoon syndrome, which is there's like a plot, there's like a story, but nothing really changes or nothing really ever happens. It's just sort of like those Saturday morning cartoons where there'll be a villain like Mum Ra and the Thundercats, and Mum Ra will be like, "I'll get you, Thundercats, and this is my evil plan to get you." And then he does it, and then the Thundercats beat Mum Ra, and then the next episode, everything's back to the way it's before, as if that last episode didn't even matter. So it's like every episode is just a self-contained little event where nothing really happens, nothing really changes, and the status quo is always the status quo. And I kind of felt like that's what they were doing with all of these cinematics, like the Soldier cinematic and the Sombra and the Widowmaker. Not a lot of stuff changes. I mean, sure, there are some plot developments. Like we know that Sombra talked to Volskaya and she's blackmailing her. We know that Widowmaker killed Mondada. But those are kind of like very secondary, minor plot points that we don't really see too much in the real game. I mean, it's not something as significant as like Widowmaker kills Tracer. It's not something as significant as like someone destroys a map and they delete that map from the game. So because of those, I sort of assumed that Overwatch would fall into the Saturday morning cartoon syndrome, which is every time they release a trailer or a cinematic for a hero, they'll fight and it'll be like Reaper Widowmaker will be like, I'll get you good do-gooders, and then they'll fight and then they'll part ways and nothing will have changed, nothing will have happened. It'll just be the same status quo as always. But I think that these lines have made me realize that really might not be the case. It could be the case that Blizzard has bolder aspirations for the future story of Overwatch and how they might change things. And after that sort of occurred to me, I was thinking about it more and more and more. And now I've sort of totally reversed my opinion. I think that is actually what Blizzard is planning to do. I think that they probably do have very bold aspirations for how they're going to develop and change the story. And what I'm basing that on is how Blizzard as a company tends to operate. Like we have other games to compare Overwatch to. We've got StarCraft, where, Kerrigan was a love interest and then she becomes a Zerg and then she's not a Zerg and then she's a Zerg again. So they're definitely willing to make some pretty serious changes there in terms of character. Same thing with Diablo. I mean, they killed off Deckard Cain. Tyrael lost his divinity and became a human. So those are some pretty significant changes as well. And World of Warcraft has massive, massive story changes. They are introducing new characters all the time, killing off characters like King Varian Wrynn wasn't really a character at all for several expansions until he finally showed up. And then he was a big important character. Same thing with Anduin. Anduin was just some little punk kid with blonde hair who was in Stormwind, and after a couple of expansions, he became like a major important character. Same thing with Garrosh. Garrosh went from a servant of Thrall up to the war chief, up to a villain, and then eventually he got killed by Thrall. So Blizzard really isn't afraid to develop the story and make serious changes to the characters, and I think I sort of fell into the trap of assuming that they wouldn't do that with Overwatch based on the fact that they haven't done anything significant with the story so far. Basically, all the cinematics have been that sort of Saturday morning, nothing really changes problem. But something stuck out in my head, something that Jeff Kaplan said a long time ago, which is he would consider retiring a hero if it ever became necessary, if he felt like they got enough value out of it, that they would just remove a character from the game. I basically only thought about that from the game design perspective. Like, okay, what if they took out Tracer? That means that there's one less flanker. Tracer's really fast and zippy. They would need, perhaps another flanker to fill her shoes. Obviously, it would affect gameplay, it would affect the meta. But I didn't really think about that from the story perspective. What he was saying, what Jeff Kaplan I think was saying, was that he and the Blizzard team are willing to kill off characters. I mean, obviously, when he says retired characters, it could be anything. It could be, maybe Soldier 76 or Reinhardt are just too old to continue, so they just lay up their hammer and their gun and they stop fighting. It doesn't really seem like their personality, but, it's possible. If they reach 90, then they're probably going to have to stop fighting just because their body won't let them continue. But, what if they release a cinematic and it's like Widowmaker and Tracer fighting and Tracer just kills Widowmaker? She just throws the bomb on Widowmaker. Widowmaker explodes and she's dead. And then the next day, Widowmaker is not in the game anymore. I think that might actually be possible. I think that Blizzard might actually do that. And I know that I've sort of gone a long way from the Genji and Mercy romance to killing off Widowmaker, but I think that this is sort of like a hint at Blizzard's willingness to change the story. Like they might actually be developing a romance that will slowly change over time. Like maybe let's imagine for example that in this they've got some sort of flirtatious lines in this Valentine's patch, and then a year later we've got some more lines that show some romantic interest, and then 2 years later there's another major content update and they are in a full-blown relationship. And then a year after that, obviously Reaper hates Mercy because Mercy's sort of botched experiment is what turned Reaper into what he is now. Reaper hates what he is now. Let's suppose that Blizzard releases a cinematic and Reaper confronts Mercy and Reaper kills Mercy. Mercy is deleted from the game. They could that could really give them a lot of play space, because they could also change fundamentally what Genji is, who he is as a character. He's very passive, calm, peaceful. Like, imagine if he were in a relationship with Mercy and Mercy were killed by Reaper. Genji could have a total personality shift into who he is. And we know again that perhaps more than any company in the world, Blizzard is willing to completely redesign from the ground up. We have seen that in other games all the time. World of Warcraft has been redesigned time and time again. I mean, they're really not afraid to take out mechanics that they don't like, take out lore that they don't like, and redo it from the ground up. I mean, we know that they were planning on doing a graphic novel, and they pulled the entire graphic novel because lore developments changed the story, and so they didn't like the story anymore. So they just pulled the comic entirely. What if they completely rewrite a character for lore? Like, what if they make Genji no longer a passive ninja and more of like a berserker or something? I don't know. That's kind of a crazy idea just off the top of my head. I mean, same thing goes with Reaper. What if Reaper regains his humanity? Blizzard could redesign Reaper from the ground up. They could give him new abilities, new weapons, new voice lines, new skins. I mean, I really wouldn't put it past Blizzard. Obviously, changing characters is kind of like the most significant thing they could do, but another really reasonable option is for them to change maps based on stories. Like, let's take Volskaya, for example. Let's suppose that there's a new story event. Like at the end of the Sombra cinematic, we saw Zarya show up and she's like, hey, I'm here to help, or whatever. What if the next cinematic shows Zarya fighting Sombra, and during their fight, Sombra hacks one of those giant robots, and the robot gets like destroyed by Zarya, and the robot falls down onto the Volskaya Industries. Then the next day, Blizzard re-releases the Volskaya map with that giant robot fallen on top of part of the map. So they changed the map design. That would be really cool. That'd be totally up Blizzard's alley. It would make sense for them. It fits their love of story. It fits their love of developing things in the game and out of the game. It fits just their love of changing things and constantly improving. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overanalyzing things. This Genji Mercy flirtation lies. Maybe it's just them being buddies. Maybe it's just, they're old colleagues and they're being friends, so they're giving each other chocolate. But maybe this is the beginning of some sort of plot point that will change the story in fundamental ways. Maybe Blizzard will abandon their Saturday morning cartoon, nothing really changes sort of approach to the story, and they'll start making significant changes. Maybe they'll kill off your favorite character. Maybe they'll totally redesign characters. Like maybe Genji will become enraged by the death of Mercy. Maybe Reaper will kill Mercy. Maybe Genji will become enraged by what Reaper has become, and they'll redesign Genji. Maybe Hanzo will try to stop his brother from following down the path that he has gone down of sort of revenge and being haunted by the past, and maybe that will change Hanzo as well. I mean, there's really a lot of potential here, and I'm really looking forward to it because it just never occurred to me. The previous cinematics have been so Saturday morning cartoony that it just never really occurred to me that the plot could change as much as it has in other games, other Blizzard games. So after just realizing that today, I'm really excited about it. I wanted to share that with you and give me your thoughts. Do you think that Blizzard would be so bold as to redesign a map based on lore? Would they delete a character based on lore? Would they redesign a character based on lore? Kaplan did say that they would consider retiring a character if it ever came to that. Do you think they'll do that? Do you think they'll kill off Mercy? Do you think they'll kill off Reaper? Let me know in the comments. I'm really interested to know your thoughts. Also, what do you think about this romance? Is this just work colleagues being friends with each other, or is there something more? So anyways, thank you for watching. Dabacabb out.